So I asked my friends to tell me what topics they thought were the most difficult to learn in English when they took classes and when they were in the process of learning and seeing what was challenging and what wasn't. And one of those topics that they told me was mixed conditionals. And it's surprising, but at the same time it's not, because I do remember when I used to teach, I was a teacher for 5 years, students were always a little bit apprehensive about mixed conditionals because they thought it was just too weird, and that's where everything just got really confusing. And it's really not, okay? I think that we can take the concepts of the other conditionals, the first, second, and third conditionals, and bring everything into the mixed conditionals so simply that you'll see that there isn't really any difficulty there. So let's see. We're going to start over here, and I'm going to insert a table. This table is going to be this size, and I think I might just skip over this whole thing because I'll take a little while to make this table. So we've got the table done, and now what's going to happen with this table? We're going to go over the other conditionals that we've learned in the past and just go a little bit deeper than we have before. We're going to be thinking about what the tenses do in each of these conditionals, okay? In the if clause and in the main clause, all right? In the if clause, that is the condition, as we all know. If this happens, main clause, something else will happen, an effect, all right? So we're going for the zero conditional. Zero conditional, if you remember, is usually about facts. It's about things that are generally true. So we had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but I'm back and we are ready to continue. Okay, so we have the zero conditional. Zero conditional, as I was saying before, is used for facts, for things that are generally true, for things that generally happen almost simultaneously. So for example, if a car crashes, people get hurt. If it rains, grass gets wet, right? Something that happens almost simultaneously, something that always happens, something that just makes sense, right? If I'm sad, I cry, all right? And every time I'm using the present simple and the present simple. So we have, if it rains, present simple, grass gets wet, present simple. And in both of these cases, we're pretty much talking about the same thing. If we have a present real event, if it rains really right now, then grass is going to get wet really right now. Because in the moment that the first drop hits the grass, it's wet, okay? There's pretty much no delay between those events, all right? So we have the cause, we have the event, and they are both present real events, okay? All right, so for the first conditional, again, we're thinking about the tenses. We're thinking about what each verb tense in each clause is doing for communication. What are we conveying? All right? What are we saying? So we have first conditional. Let's make an example. I'll say, if you eat my donut, I will cry. All right? If you eat my donut, if you eat right now my donut, if that really happens, it would really hurt me. So if right now, present real, there's no reason for it to be any different. Every time you have the present simple in the if clause, you're talking about a real present event, okay? So there's no reason for it to be different from the zero conditional. If you eat my donut, present real. But now we have I will cry. We have the future simple. We haven't seen this yet. What happens with the future simple? Well, if you really eat my donut, then I really will cry. So we're still talking about real things, but this is future real. Okay, we have future real. Every time we have the future simple in the main clause, we're talking about a real future event. So far, so good. All right. Now the second conditional is where we start to get a little bit hypothetical. We're starting to talk about things that aren't real, and we're just considering what would happen if it were real. All right. So in this case, we have a second conditional. I'm going to say, if I were tall, I would play basketball. I'm not tall. Right now, I'm not tall. And I can't really do anything to change my genetics right now to become tall. Maybe I could get a surgery, but that would still require something that means It's not happening right now. So if right now I were tall, so that means an alternate reality, a hypothetical present. If I were tall right now, past simple, okay? That's what happens with the past simple in the if clause. Every time we use the past simple in the if clause, we're talking about a hypothetical present, period. We're saying if my life were different right now, if my conditions were different right now, if I had a dog, I would walk him every day, but I don't have a dog. If I had a dog, things would be different. Alternate present reality. If something were different about my life right now, what would I do? Okay? And then we have would play. Would play, which is would and the present simple. Okay? Would play means when would I play? Hypothetically, if I were tall right now, well, in my life, right now, I would play basketball. Okay? So we have a hypothetical present as well. Okay? If I had $1 million, I would ride horses every day. Okay? That's kind of a dumb example, but you know. And now for the third conditional. The third conditional is also called the impossible conditional. Why? Because let's look at the last example. If I were tall, I would play basketball. It's hypothetical because I'm not tall right now, but I could get a surgery. I could get special platform shoes. I could do something, maybe, to change my reality. But the third conditional, it talks about what you would have done differently after a past condition, past event. Okay? So how would you have reacted differently in the past? There's nothing you can do about that now because it's already in the past. You can't change your reaction. Okay? So, for example, let's say that you were driving your car and you hit a cat. You killed it. You're a murderer. And it's really weighing on you and you feel really sad because you killed a cat. And oh my God, how could you do that? How could you do that? But you think, oh man, I didn't see the cat. I didn't actually see the cat when I was driving. But if I had seen the cat, which I didn't see, but if I had seen it, I know I would have stopped. And I wouldn't have killed it. I know I wouldn't. All right? So we have if I had seen, past perfect. We have the past perfect, and it's talking about an alternate or hypothetical past. Okay? So if I had seen the cat, I would have stopped. Would have stopped. So we have would plus the present perfect. Okay? Would plus the present perfect. What happens in the main clause when you use that tense? Well, we're talking about hypothetical past. Okay? So you want hypothetical past in the main clause? Well, you have to use would and present perfect. You want hypothetical past in the if clause, in the condition, then you need past perfect. Okay? So we have these two options here. So now I'm going to try to make all of this make sense for you. Okay? So let's lean back. Let's think about everything that we just talked about and breathe. Because this is where it gets easy. Okay? Let's look at the second and third conditional. These are the hypothetical conditionals. These are the conditionals that we care about for mixed conditionals. Because these aren't the only cases that are possible when you think about if something happens, something else happens. All right? You could have something different about your life in the past that affects the past. What? How? Well, I'm going to show you. Okay? I'm going to show you with an example here. So we have here, we have this guy, and he's standing on a chair, right? And his wife is in the background screaming and running away. Because over here, we have a spider. All right? I'm not an artist. I'm sorry. And then down here we have the same guy. He's on his knees. He's begging. And his wife is over here, and she's gigantic. And her arms are crossed. And she's looking at him, just angry. Okay? So what happened here? We have a happily married couple who one day are tormented by a very, very big spider. Okay? And the wife just tells the man, hey, you get that spider, and she runs away, but he's scared. He's scared of spiders, right? So, let's see. He has to apologize to his wife. So he says, I'm sorry, wife of mine. You see, what happens is, I'm scared of spiders. Right now, that's his present reality. He's scared of spiders, okay? But if I weren't scared of spiders, I would have killed it. I swear I would have, okay? So he's saying if his current condition were different right now, his past action would have been different. If I weren't scared of spiders at this moment, if that weren't my reality, well, in that moment, I would have killed the spider. I would have killed it so good, all right? So what happens there? We have weren't. This is past simple, right? And would have killed. This is would plus present perfect. So what happens there? Let's look at what we were doing. Past simple. Past simple comes from second conditional. Okay, so we have over here, we have second conditional. Oh, I need this. Second conditional, right? And then we have would have killed it, right? Would have stopped. Over here, we have would and the present perfect, hypothetical past, which means we mixed second and third conditional. We just did our first mixed conditional, okay? And if you remember this, you'll never forget it. Just remember this guy who was scared of the spider, and he just wants his wife to know that if he weren't scared of spiders, he would have killed it, okay? So now we're gonna look at the second part. In this second part, he's begging to have her back. He's just so sad that she left him because they got a divorce, okay? They got a divorce, and he just wants her back. So he says, please, take me back. And she says, well, you know, I'm sorry. I can't take you back. But if you had killed the spider on that fateful day, if you had killed the spider, we would be together today. Okay? If he had done something different in the past, his present would be different now. Okay? So we have had killed. Ooh, I forgot to change the color, so I'm just going to underline it in red. So if you had killed the spider, past perfect, we would be together today. Would and present simple. Where do we have that? So we have had killed. That is different in the past. That is hypothetical past. That is past perfect. That is third conditional. Okay, so we have third conditional here. 3. And we would be together today. Would be, would present simple, hypothetical present. Something would be different now. That is second conditional. Okay, second conditional. That's mixed conditionals. That's it. You're mixing second and third and second, because there are more options for things to happen. If something happens differently in the past, it can affect the present. And if you look at these other conditionals, well, we don't have an option for that. We have to create it. And to create it, we have to think, okay, if I want to talk about hypothetical present and hypothetical past, I can use these parts. I can take this part. If I were tall, I would have stopped. And that's it. And that's it. That's all we have. That's all she wrote. That's it. That's it. If you have any questions, just leave a comment. Okay? Thank you.